Hello everyone and welcome to the video. This is for class 8 lesson number 7, a visit to Cambridge. This is written by Firdaus Kanga. Now I'm going to show you some of the things which are quite important while explaining the summary of this lesson. Look at them. It is the conversation with Stephen Hawking rather than describing the visit. And as you can see, Firdaus Kanga, who is an Indian author, has described his conversation with Stephen Hawking. Now there are some points which I'll be telling you while describing the whole summary. These points are seeking appointment. It's quite clear that Firdaus Kanga is going to seek appointment from Stephen Hawking and he got the time of 3:30 to 4 p.m. Now witnessing Hawking, what are the things the author felt while looking at the greatest scientist? Now Hawking's fears over being disabled, and the next point which is going to be described is conflict with author's views, offering tea and visit at Hawking's garden, lastly but not the least, Hawking's message. Let's begin now. So, as I have just told you, the author, who's an Indian person, visited to Cambridge and he was going to the different places. He hired a guide. While passing to a bungalow, the guide suggested that this is the house of the greatest astrophysicist Stephen Hawking. The author himself remembered that he had to meet that person. He just went to a phone calling booth, that is a STD booth, and made a call to Stephen Hawking's number. He could talk to his assistant. Stephen Hawking's assistant was talking to the author, and author spacely told that he had come all the way from India and he is a spatially abled person. He want to interview Mr. Hawking and he want to share the things between their conversation to the people of his country. Stephen Hawking replied positively and his assistant gave the time of 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. in which author was allowed to go and meet Mr. Hawking. He went there, he met him at the decided time. Hawking was not late even a little second. He was on time, so as the author. Afterwards, looking at him, the author felt really excited. He felt so happy because he could see the greatest scientist whom he had been seeing only in the images through different angles. Like for him it was a man who was just looked same in as in the 3D images of him or his imagination. This excited Mr. Kanga, and afterwards he continued to describe him. While you will be reading the whole lesson, you can see the whole description there, which is quite important, but I wish that it must be studied by the students themselves. Moving on, after describing his persona, he moves on telling the next thing. He asks to Stephen Hawking, how do you feel being disabled? And the answer from Stephen Hawking was quite negative. He said that he does not feel good to be, but since he had no other option, he couldn't do anything. So he tried to adjust himself with whatever he had, that is a body which couldn't move by itself. He had to rely on other persons as well as his mechanical instruments which helped him. And the author himself had different opinion about this, as author was also a disabled person, but he looked to this as a chance or an opportunity to see the kindness existing in the world. And that was the difference between Arthur's view and Stephen Hawking's view. But he couldn't argue all that because everyone has their own opinion. Like you might have any other opinion, while going through the whole lesson you could find some other things important. So did the author. Afterwards, author asked, how do you feel when people try to encourage you, when people try to let your bravery come out of your personality? The author was amused to see the reply, as Hawking said that I feel really amused when people try to patronize me. I do not feel very happy about it, as I believe that disabled people like me are having enough bravery. They don't need anyone else's encouragement. All what they need is equal opportunity without saying or without telling it. Now, the author asked about the kindness being felt. He said that yeah, that kindness can be felt, but I do not take it in a positive way. I feel that since I cannot do any other thing, I have no other option, thus I try to cooperate with what I have. And the next thing what author could ask was to ask him to tell a message to the people, especially special abled people, means disabled. So the reply from Hawking was nothing else except try to focus on what you can do better. Do not go for what you can't. Means someone who's spatially able should just try to go to the point which could benefit him or his career, rather than trying everything which could not be appealing to the people. And this message was told to the author, and author took it in a positive way. Afterwards, while author was leaving, the greatest scientist Hawking allowed the author to have a tea with him and a visit to his garden. When author got the opportunity, he accepted it happily, and when he was wandering the garden, he felt that it was a real huge garden. It was even in a wider area rather than a park. And after meeting that man, author realized that his life has changed and his views over taking the things has been again taught to taken to a level which is quite different than others. That's it. Now you go to the lesson, study what is there inside your book, and ask me if you have any doubt related to that or related to my video. Thank you so much. Keep subscribed.